today we're at the Temple of Heaven, and it is surrounded by this park. And so we're just kind of strolling through the park today. And just to get into the grounds, it was 58 CNY, so not too bad. And it just seems like it is so crowded. There are tons of people doing all kinds of things. We're not really sure what they're doing. Exercising, there's people clapping over here. I don't know.
So we just came from the animal killing sanctuary, and there really wasn't much information inside there. It just had one plaque that said that this was like the big sink where they boiled the animal after they killed it to get all the, I guess, the hair or the feathers off of it. But that was it. There wasn't like a whole lot of information about where things happen or where the sacrifices were done or what kind of animals they sacrificed or what it was for. So that's all I went to have to research online, I guess. I was hoping to learn that here, but it was still like a beautiful building, like beautiful little courtyard that it had its own separate one from the main ground. So you had to get a separate ticket. You show them your passport right in front of it to get a free ticket to go inside, which just seems like an extra step when you already have a ticket to get in here. But now we hear some music coming from the other side of one of the walls. I'm gonna go try to see if we can figure out what the music is. So I thought it was a whole big crowd of people listening to music. They all hear with songbooks that they're all singing from, and there's a little band in front of them. There's like a choir director like in the middle of them, directing them. There's a legit, just like a hedgehog in the wild over here, just walking around. I've never seen a hedgehog, like I've seen a pet hedgehog, but I've never seen one just chilling, walking around out in the wild before. Have you?
No, never in just a park. No.
So it turns out we did have to end up paying another 20 additional CNY each to get up into the actual Temple of Heaven. So that brings our ticket total up to 3 different tickets that we've had to get. One of them was free with a passport, but that also brings the total price up just to get in here to 98 CNY for the both of us to get to the actual temple. It seemed kind of random and absurd that you paid at the gate, and then once you get into the actual temple, then you have to pay again just to get to the temple. But that's the way they do it here, I guess. So now we're at the actual Temple of Heaven, and it's pretty cool to see now. It's like a huge open courtyard with the temple right in the middle, like multiple tiers, like a cake, I guess. We were reading that China has had the emperor worshiping heaven, is what they say, worshiping heaven since the 26th century BC, and it continued up until the beginning of the 20th century. And the Temple of Heaven was built in the 1400s. So there's a long history and tradition of worshiping heaven. I don't really know exactly what like the idea of like heaven is here, but it's amazing that they've been worshiping for that long. And it's saying that their worship ceremony consisted of like wine offerings and jade offerings, and then animal sacrifices and burning of sacrifices and all kinds of things. It seemed like a huge ordeal.
We left the Temple of Heaven and now we are at a restaurant to get some authentic Chinese food. Got some hot and sour soup because my mom loves it back home. I've never really liked it that much, but I want to see if it's different here and let her know how it is. We got steamed rice and some more spicy chicken, some more sweet and sour chicken because we love that.
So the sweet and sour chicken is not like fried chicken like a lot of the ones back home, but it's just like slices of chicken. Instead, they have these really big chunks of pineapple in here as well. And then also there's some bell peppers in here. And then this spicy chicken, it's really not that spicy actually, but it does have like these red peppers and then different looks like green onions and just other spices in here. Now this one you do have to be careful because like the bones are inside. Like even if you look at like this one, that like dark spot, if you can see that right there, that's a bone. And so you have to be careful when you bite down on those because those aren't like softened or anything, or you can just eat those. But really good, both of them are really good. And then we also have this hot and sour soup. And if you don't know, hot and sour soup is kind of like this like, the broth that is in, it's almost like slimy. It's not just like a thin broth or anything. But I'm not a big fan of it, but I mean, it's not bad. But most of the meals like you see are served family style. So they bring you out in the middle and then you are given like small plates and then you serve on and then you eat off of your plates. At least that's what we gather. We think that's what it is. But most meals that we've gotten have been served family style like this. So that is it for dinner. We are done. And it was super good. It really made me feel like our Chinese food back home is actually a lot more authentic than we give it credit for. And all of that was only 158 CNY, so you know, not too expensive for the amount of food that we got. I mean, we couldn't even finish that huge tub of hot and sour soup. So that was a delicious, really good Chinese meal, and that is it for tonight. I think it is time to go relax and try to rest our feet after all of the walking that we have been doing. It is a kind of foggy, smoggy morning here in Beijing, and we are on our way to the Forbidden City. But on our way there, I want to talk about, we had read online, or we had seen online, where somebody had talked about that there was a new like big scam that happens in China that's supposed to be like an elderly person will fall, or they'll hit the ground, or they'll jump in front of a car or like that and try to get injured or pretend like they're injured. And so somebody comes up and tries to help them up, that they'll then sue them for damages, saying that it was like their fault that they fell. So it's like a really horrible scam that somebody would do. But anyways, we were just walking on the sidewalk and this elderly man just bit it, just hit the ground hard. And it was so bizarre. There was like a ton of people on the sidewalk around him, like there were police officers and everything, but everybody just stood and watched him. And then there was even a couple in front of us that were walking, and the guy's wife was closest to this old man, and the husband grabbed her arm and like pulled her close to him as they made a big circle around him. And so part of what we heard is because of that scam, now like if you see people fall or somebody gets hurt, that nobody will go near them or try to help them up, and so they're just kind of left. So it's so sad seeing an elderly person fall like that and then nobody try to go help them and just watch them slowly try to pull themselves together and stand up on their own. But so it was just so bizarre to see that like actually in person, kind of, you know, maybe it wasn't a scam, and he did pop up. He got up and he was fine, and we were a little ways away, but just to see like nobody actually react and nobody go to help him, and then also pull somebody, like pull his wife away from helping him, it's just so weird that what we saw online is actually like a legitimate thing. So it's an interesting cultural aspect of China that is unique, I think, here. It's very sad. Here we go, actually entering the Forbidden City for the first time. The front was all closed up when we got here the other night. I think it was just because we got here so late, just like Tiananmen Square. But here we are actually entering into the Forbidden City.
Oh, we got our first request. Someone wanted to take a picture with us. We should start charging.
We wouldn't have made much money yet, but that was the first one. I thought she was asking if we could take a picture of them in front of the Forbidden City, but they put the palace to their backs, and they just wanted a picture, I guess, with
the blondie and the curlies.
I don't blame them. I get it.
Yeah, we're celebrities. We're pretty good looking, right?
So we're having a really hard time trying to find where we get tickets to actually go into the Forbidden City. My opinion is that this trolley here will take us around to the front. But
I mean, it'll take us somewhere. We'll get to see the scenes while we're going, wherever it takes us.
yeah.
I think it's fine.
So we're gonna get on and see where we go. We're very trusting.
That's not good.
So to get on this trolley, it was only 4C and Y for both of us to get on here. I think it takes us around to the back of the palace. So super cheap, quick way of getting around. And then we get to see the palace as we go around. We're outside the city walls, or outside the wall, it seems like right now. So it ended up taking us nowhere. And it was like a 1.5-minute ride, so I'm not sure that it was worth it for Juan. Anyway, so now we're just kind of following the crowd. Looks like they're heading out though, so I don't know where we're going. I don't know how to get into the palace.
It seems to be a theme for us.
It's just get up and go somewhere, and then...
No, just surrounding the place we want to go. Can't get in.
That's what I'm saying. We just get up and go, and we don't know how to get in. And then we just walk around and waste a lot of our day. So definitely a piece of advice that we're learning is do a little bit of research before you head out and figure out where you're supposed to go, and then it might be a little bit more of an enjoyable experience.
So it turns out the Forbidden City is still forbidden, at least on Mondays. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to see it today. But luckily our hotel is very close, so we can come back tomorrow. So number one travel tip, look up the places you're going before you go there. Make sure they're open on the day you're planning on going. Our hotel's not too far, so it's not too much, it's not too big of a deal, but still a bummer. But luckily, there's this park that's right across the street from the Forbidden City that was also on our list to come see. And so we just were able to walk right over here. It's called JINOSHAN, is that right? JINOSHAN Park. So far it seems cool. And it's supposed to have a pavilion that overlooks the Forbidden City. So at least we'll get to see inside of it today. It did cost a little bit to get in. It was 4 Chinese yuan, but which is like, it's not bad. Okay. Let's go see that view. kind of foggy, but you can see the Forbidden City faintly behind us.
So we left the park that we were at. The view was just kind of obstructed by the fog and stuff, and so we were able to see it a little bit. But since we only have, I think, 3 full days left in Beijing, we got to get out and see some more of the sites that we want to catch before we leave. So we're gonna try to head to the Olympic Stadium and see if we can actually make it there first off, and see if we can find where they held the Olympics in 2008, I think. It's so interesting because we've seen like in so many restaurants and stuff, they still have like Beijing 2008 Olympic stickers and whatnot, and so 10 years on, it's still a huge deal to have hosted the Olympics. So it's kind of exciting. And then it was exciting in Tokyo when we were there, and like they're about to host the Olympics in a few years, and so there's all kinds of excitement there too. So we are going to head out there and try to see that big site. So it's kind of wild being out here because like these streets and everything are just emptied. And so I guess like when you come to an Olympic village, like post Olympics, or I guess here in between Olympics, it's just like a ghost town. And it's so bizarre that, you know, this infrastructure is all here. And I'm sure it's utilized at some point for like maybe a huge concert, another sporting event, but otherwise just bare. We were just about to leave the Olympic Park, and then we saw that you can go up on the top and walk on the lid of the bird's nest. They call it the wonder of the top of the bird's nest, I think, for only 80 won each. And so Aubrey begged me to do it. And so we're going up to the very top because she loves heights so much. But we have no clue. I'm surprised it's still doing it because it's getting dark, but...
I think it'll be a cooler view.
Yeah. But the stadium, so we're inside the Olympic Stadium now. It's extremely dark.
There's like not people bleeding this.
Yeah, we don't know where to go. I see the entrance to VIP. I see the stadium. Well, some guy just walked out into the field. Here's the inside of the Olympic Stadium. But so we're gonna go up here and walk on the top of the lid. Let's go. It's so weird. There is nothing showing you where to go and nobody directing you on where to go.
We're just wandering around in the stadium.
It was so bizarre. Like people were down at the front of the chairs, and they just hopped over the wall and they're just walking out down the main floor of the stadium, and there's nobody around to stop them. So again, now we're walking around the stadium with no direction. So we've come up on the next deck. We're at like the top of the stadium seats. Here's the Olympic Stadium. So we finally started finding signs, but it was like way down the way. I think we may have found where we're supposed to be. But then again, who really knows? We're on top of the bird's nest.
We made it!
So that's it of the top of the bird's nest. Now I want to walk around. I want to try to get down on the floor of the stadium. It does look like they've actually turned some lights on in here now. I think maybe just like their timer for the lights may be a little bit delayed as opposed to like when the sun actually sets, and so that's why it was a little bit difficult to figure out now. But it looks like it's all on. So we'll see if we're actually able to even get on the floor at this point. Oh no, they got a cop down there now. We should have gone down to the floor of the stadium while we had the chance, because now they have a police officer down here and all the lights are on. I wish we'd done it earlier.
No.
So that wraps up our Beijing Olympics tours, I think. We are going to go back to the hotel now. So we got to head to the subway. Aubrey has some noodles that she's going to make in the hotel room, I think. So I may grab something on the way home and eat. Xie.
I am a celebrity today.
That was the cutest thing. This little girl came up, I guess she was asking for Aubrey's picture, probably because of her blonde hair and her just dashing good looks. She could care less about me. I don't get it.